Um, Good evening, everybody. This is our third Thursday Sherman Park Eco webinar in partnership with Sherman Park Community Association. And this is November 16th, 2023. I'm Tim Perkins. I'm one of the Sherman Park Eco neighborhood ambassadors, along with Mabel Lamb, who's the executive director of SPCA, and on tonight, Steve O'Connell and Ann Knadler and others. We give thanks for everybody who's here, and we're especially grateful that Brady Steigoff is here from Focus on Energy. And Brady's going to do about an hour-long presentation on Focus on Energy and the benefits that households, and we may be talking a little bit about commercial buildings as well. But there'll be time for questions and answers tonight. And if you're watching this recording, contact Brady at Focus on Energy, and you can get some questions answered. But we'll continue to try to find ways of connecting people with all the benefits that Focus on Energy is offering, especially as we move toward people being able to apply for grants through the Inflation Reduction Act. So, Brady, without further ado, I pass it on to you, and thank you for being with us tonight.
Yeah, thanks, Tim, and thanks everyone for attending. Let's just see. I'm going to share my screen. Can people do a thumbs up if you can see? All right. So today's session, we're going to talk a little bit about some resources that the city of Milwaukee has. It's mostly going to be residential focused, but in the Q&A, we can talk a little bit about commercial stuff as well. All this stuff is all about, saving money on energy. I think this is a really exciting time. There's a lot of resources with the Inflation Reduction Act, with tax credits to match what Focus on Energy offers for rebates for home improvements that not only make your home more comfortable, but also lower your energy bills. And the city of Milwaukee also has some financing as well. And next year, there's going to be some federal rebates as well that will go through Focus on Energy. So you can combine that as just another funding stream sort of to help pay for these energy saving measures. And after that, once you install the equipment, the savings are yours to keep year after year. So I'll do a little intro to who Focus on Energy is, and then also cover just the energy resources that are in Wisconsin that aren't just limited to Focus on Energy. I'll talk a little bit about how energy is used, how it's made, and how you can save it, and then do a website tutorial so you can kind of see where to find these resources on our website. It's one of the best places to find them. And then we could do some Q&A. So I won't really speak too much to the city of Milwaukee since I'm not as familiar, but I wanted to let you know that this is a priority for the city. This climate work and energy work, especially with them passing the Climate and Equity Plan. Energy efficiency and lower bills are one of the strategies that they see to getting to their vision. So Focus on Energy. We are Wisconsin Utilities statewide program for efficiency and renewables. We partner with 107 utilities across Wisconsin, so most of the state, almost all of it. And we provide rebates and financial incentives to help people pay for energy efficiency upgrades either sooner than they would have, or at least help with that upfront cost of more efficient equipment so that customers can then save on their bills. We also have education and information like workshops like this to help encourage participation with the ultimate goal of having a more efficient economy and also just reducing bills for people and businesses. We had a question on the state energy assistance and low income weatherization. So there are two programs that are kind of Wisconsin public benefit programs. Focus on Energy is one of them with the goal of lowering your bills, but there is another one that is more income eligible, but then provides more assistance for residents of Wisconsin. So the Energy Assistance Program helps pay for bills. So if you're struggling to pay your bills and your income is below or at or below 60% state median income, you're eligible to help for bill pay assistance. And as part of that, you'd be eligible for weatherization assistance program. So if you need assistance on your bills, sort of the design of that program is then the government and the state kick in some benefits to help weatherize your home, maybe upgrade or replace your furnace, do some repairs to it, and then replace some appliances too, with the goal of if you're struggling to pay your bills, the government has some assistance to help lower your bills to hopefully get you back on your feet so you can afford them again. So we have some the direct call number here for that program. And really, if your income qualifies and you are on weatherization energy assistance, I highly encourage this as the best way for you to lower your bills and save money on energy, just because it can provide so many free services if you're eligible. Now, if you're not, or even if you participate in that program, Focus on Energy does not have an income requirement. So any Wisconsinite that has a utility bill is eligible to participate. But recognizing that some folks do need a little bit more help, and for new furnaces and things like that can be expensive, so can insulation. If you're at 80% state median income or below, so a little bit above that threshold, we'll offer enhanced rebates to help give you a little bit more money back on those equipment so that you can help benefit from efficiency as well. Maybe I'll quick pause there. Does anybody have any questions on those two programs, just general outline of them?
So does the energy assistance and low income weatherization, is that through community advocates and UMOS? Is that mainly to help with the bills and then to insulate your home if needed?
Yep. So the way that works is they start by helping you pay your bill. So it's some bill pay assistance. Sometimes the utility also connects them. Otherwise, people reach out directly. And then if they're on bill pay assistance for, I'm not sure exactly the amount of time, but it's not a super long time, they'll get reached out to also by the weatherization community action partners about, you're eligible for this free services. And if you're in a multifamily building, at 50% of the tenants are eligible, then the whole building is eligible to get weatherization enhanced equipment.
And Focus help you to upgrade your equipment in the house?
Could you repeat the question, please?
The Focus on Energy assistance is to help with help pay for equipment, upgraded equipment.
Yeah. And it's for anybody. So weatherization is only for a certain demographic that qualifies with income. And if you don't qualify for that, Focus on Energy is sort of your program. And I bring up both because, if you're lower income, it is harder to pay for the upfront cost of this equipment, and you might not even be able to. And that program can provide everything for free. So as just a general, me educating people, I want people to know the best program that could serve them if they qualify. But if you don't, Focus on Energy, which is the bulk of my presentation, is your best, way to pay for this equipment, as well as, there is still a resource out there, even if you don't qualify for the weatherization assistance program.
And one of the things I've learned with the older adults is it's really effective, especially older adults who have been living under that income bracket for years and really have struggled with their houses. So Brady, it's especially for our older adults, it's the ticket.
Yeah.
Especially for some of them have been suffering with inadequate and air conditioning. Oh my God, especially in the summer.
Totally.
I'm a firm believer.
Yeah. So even though I don't specialize in the program, I felt for the sake of education, I really wanted to make sure people knew that there was a sister program to ours that can offer more if you're eligible. Oops, sorry. I wanted to mention, so if Focus on Energy is sort of your program, there's more than just Focus on Energy as well. So we offer a lot of rebates. So once you get the equipment, you apply. We're changing that a little bit next year, probably mid-year, where it'll be an instant rebate. So you'll just want to make sure you work with a focus on energy contractor. I'll get to that in a little bit on how you find one. But for a lot of the same equipment that we provide incentives on, which again, I'll talk about later, you're also eligible for federal tax credits. So our rebate probably will reach you, within, we say 8 to 10 weeks. Often it arrives a lot sooner than that. But your tax credit at the end of the year, you're also eligible for an additional credit for a lot of the same projects and even more projects than what we cover. And then I'm going to end the presentation talking about new federal rebates that you can stack on top of these other two. But those probably won't be available until fall of next year. And those will also be income eligible. So depending on where your financial situation is at, now is a really good time to start planning for what energy projects you want to do, being proactive. An energy audit is a really great place to start if you've never done one for your home. It'll give you recommendations specific to your home, and it'll give you a really good roadmap. The last thing you want to do is be in a situation where your furnace goes kaput and it's the middle of winter or a really cold day, and you're at the mercy of whatever a contractor can install. So I think an energy audit, or just being proactive about what equipment do you have, what do you want, and what incentives are available for that equipment, can be really, really helpful to be proactive in that, especially with all these resources that are now coming online for folks. And I'll talk about them more as we go through. So wanted to quickly do just an efficiency benefit, because I think sometimes, sustainability can be a broad term, but when it applies to energy efficiency, it has a lot of benefits. The first of all being, it's not more expensive necessarily to be more efficient. It usually saves you money. It can sometimes lead to a healthier home too, with better air quality, with better filtration and ventilation. And you're also protected from those drafts, so it makes your home more comfortable. And when we have extreme heat or extreme cold, your home can actually keep what temperature you have for a lot longer, even if your heat went out. So it's more resilient. It lowers your environmental footprint, because usually we're either burning natural gas or our electricity, which right now is not that clean, but is getting cleaner. Whenever you're saving energy, you're saving resources used to make that energy. And now there's a lot of resources in the city of Milwaukee, and some organizations like Green Homeowners United, as well as others, offer some green financing as well, to help make sure the upfront cost is affordable. So where does our energy come from? I wanted to just show this pie chart. This is from 2020, the most recent data I could find right now. I'm sure it'll be updated soon. But it shows that most of our energy right now comes from natural gas and coal. And so, kind of to my point, the cheapest energy, even when we have a lot of renewables online, is still going to be the kind that you never use due to efficiency. We are seeing this pie chart change every year, with a lot more, especially solar, coming online. But that's still, I think with electrification and electric vehicles, I don't see us needing less energy. And that means we're going to have to build capacity. It means electricity might get more expensive. So saving energy is always going to benefit you in the long run. I know this chart is a little bit busy, but I'm going to break it down for you. This is how a single family home and an apartment typically use energy. So on the left, we have the average single family home. The main takeaway of this pie chart that's a little busy is that more than 50% of your energy bill is caused by heating your home in the winter and air conditioning in the summer. So when I transition into how we're going to save energy, that's like your top priority, is how to save on heating and cooling through your furnace and your air conditioning, or switching to a heat pump. This is going to have a huge impact on your bill. Same with the thermostat and how you program that. It's going to be the most influential thing you can do for your home on your bill. Water heating is next. So heating is kind of a general theme, but that's a big piece of it. And one of the things I find really illuminating is that I replaced all my light bulbs with LEDs and I felt super good about it. And it did make a huge difference in my bill. I don't want to knock that, but it's not, when you look at the big picture, it's actually a smaller portion than I realized, even though it was really fun and easy to do. And the all other is mostly things that are plugged in and our appliances. So it's important when you replace them, look for an Energy Star logo, as well as unplug some things that you can around the house, because those typically still are draining a significant amount of power, especially when you add them up by how many devices we now have plugged in. Apartments use just a little bit less for heating and a little bit more for cooling, and that's because each unit is kind of sharing heat with each other, all the cooking and stuff that's going on. And then you see a little bit of like the appliances and the things you plug in make up a little bit more of the usage. Overall, an apartment uses less energy than a single family home. So the appliances that you're plugging in are just going to make up a bigger share of that. And this won't be the last time that we talk about things that we use. So this is a report that I just love to reference. It basically is saying in our cold climate, there's tons of opportunity to save. I hear all the time, you know, I've done everything. I don't think that there's much more I can do on my bill. And I just want to say that's probably wrong. And that's the good news, is that most of our homes can save about 80% of our energy that we're using. We're currently wasting it, and that would halve our carbon emissions. So that means we can lower cost and our environmental footprint, and it'll pay for itself in the long run. I wanted to kind of break down what that would look like, and we kind of talked about energy planning for your home. This will look different based on how old your equipment is, how much insulation you have, and that sort of value of an energy audit. But generally, from my expertise, kind of what I can share with you is there's a general path towards this really high efficiency home. It always starts with insulation and air sealing, which an energy audit will give you paybacks, as well as higher focus on energy incentives if you have that for insulating and air sealing. And that's because it doesn't really matter what kind of heating and cooling equipment you have. It could be the most efficient, but if you're mostly heating the outdoors and you're losing a ton of that heat or cooling, you know, you're still wasting a lot of energy. So we kind of start with the walls and the attic and the foundation of the home, make sure that's tight. And then we focus a little bit on the ventilation and the heating and cooling equipment. So you'll see in this, the recommendation is usually an air source heat pump for efficiency. What I will say is that we have very cheap natural gas in Wisconsin. So switching to an electric air source heat pump, which is sort of the new technology that's really shiny and it now works in our climate in Wisconsin. If you go all electric, it might increase your bill a little bit more compared to natural gas, but depending on your priorities, that might be the direction you want to go with. If you do have solar, that would not be the case because you're generating some of your own power. And you can get an air source heat pump and have it work in combination with your existing furnace, and your thermostat would kind of help you run the most efficient. So when it goes really, really cold, that heat pump switches over to the furnace. But in milder climate and for cooling, the air source heat pump is going to provide very efficient heating and cooling during those times. And then there's heat pump water heater is what HPWH means. So those are very efficient, but also electric. So depending on your rates, it might save you and it might change a little bit. But there are some things like the time of use rate with We Energies that might, depending on when you use the water, might be able to hook it up. So start with insulation and air sealing as the main takeaway. I wanted to have just tips for renters or homeowners if you're there on the call. Getting our free energy saving pack from Focus on Energy. I'll show you how to do that in a little bit. Obviously turning off all lights, but switching all lights to LEDs, even before they burn out, because if you wait until they burn out, you're missing out on possibly years of savings. You know, LEDs use 1/6 of what an incandescent uses and a little bit about half of what a compact fluorescent light bulb will use. So encourage you to get one of our free energy packs that has some light bulbs to do that.
Brady,
Yeah,
excuse
go
me.
ahead.
Incandescents can be recycled too, correct? Incandescent bulbs.
Tried at Ace Hardware, and they said no.
Oh,
But
I'll check into it.
I can say nationwide, we have literally closed several power plants because of LEDs. Like they have saved so much energy. And when you think about all of the resources that went into powering those old bulbs that we now don't have to by people switching, they really do add up on the grand scale when everybody switches. And you individually you will see a difference in your bill. But CFLs you can recycle, and you really should, because they have mercury in them, and that's terrible in our landfills environment. So sometimes you have, I think Menards will not charge, and like Lowe's, the big department stores, but my Ace Hardware charged like 25 cents a bulb.
Brady, the city takes them for free. So
Great.
yeah, I took a bunch in the other day and they just pointed me over there.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the LED bulbs when they burn out?
No, the squiggly ones and the
Oh.
tubes,
Oh.
the fluorescent tubes. They want those at their site.
Also, this is Betty Haas. We always take our bulbs to Batteries Plus.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
They take them at no charge.
Yeah.
And I just saw a receptacle at Lowe's
Oh, wow.
right in the entry.
Thanks, everybody.
I've got some general thermostat set like guidelines for the temperature that you can set them at. You know, generally in the summer, the higher you can go, the better. And if you can use fans, it's like one fan is like, AC, using your AC is like using like 20 fans in your home or more. So fans use a fraction of the energy. So to the extent that you can raise the thermostat and put a fan on you to make you feel cooler, can save you quite a bit on your bill. And then in the winter, the lower you can go, if when you're sleeping, you can set it back, or when you leave the house, you can go down. The recommendation is not to go down further than 55 degrees for pipes, but you could go that low unless you've got like house plants or a pet. You might not want to go that low, but generally the lower you can go, the more you will save. And in the summer, the higher you can go, or go without use fans.
I got some information regarding fans. In the winter, you want the fans to pull up so that the warm air at the ceiling is distributed down to the sides. And in the summer, you want the air flowing down so that you have the breeze coming down.
Yep, that's if you have ceiling fans.
Yes, for ceiling fans, correct.
And if you think back on that pie chart, you know, that's more than 50% of your energy bill. So this has a huge impact there. I mentioned using power strips if you turn them off. A great place for that is like anywhere you have a computer or a TV where you have a lot of things plugged in. Especially TVs and computers can use up to like a third of their power when they're off, just because they're kind of ready to reboot as fast as they can when you need them. So if you can unplug them or put them in a power strip, that can save quite a bit of energy around the house. So those and charging cords are our main energy vampires. But that doesn't exclude some other things around the house too.
Hey,
Brady, so you're saying power strips, you should use power strips to plug your electronics in?
Yep, and then turn them off when you're done.
I have something else with Brady. I got a free energy saving pack from Focus on Energy a couple of years ago, and it has a special power strip that the first outlet, if whatever's plugged into that, like the TV, if that's not on, then the rest of the power strip is not on. So I would have my TV on that power strip, and then the soundboard and other things would be on the other outlets. So they wouldn't use electricity unless my TV was on.
Yeah, that's one of our smart power strips, and I can show people in a little bit.
Yeah. And I think I got that free from a energy saving pack of Focus on Energy.
Yes, we don't offer that one free anymore because that was too expensive
No, it had
to
be
do
free.
on scale, but it's still very reduced on our website. So I'll show that. I mentioned that a lot of homes on average are pretty leaky. I guess the average in Wisconsin I've heard is the size of a basketball that a home has in terms of holes where air is leaking. So using inexpensive caulk and weather stripping, and we now have a weatherization pack that gives you some for free, can actually be a really good way to reduce some of those, to seal the, to air seal your home, and also prevent some drafts. And I'll skip some of the other ones, but I just wanted to say that these small behaviors do really add up. If you practice them pretty enthusiastically, we'll say, you can save an estimated 16 to 20%. The last just kind of 101 energy stuff I wanted to share was just many are familiar with this yellow energy guide, and they think that this means that your product is efficient, and it doesn't. This black Energy Star logo, or sometimes it's blue, that is what indicates that this is above average efficiency on the market. What this energy guide shows you is just how much you can expect to pay per year, as well as the average usage. So when you look at this guide, you're generally going to want to look at, how far left is it? So, hopefully the annual operating cost is lower, as well as this Energy Star logo. And while those products will probably be more expensive, I can tell you they're going to save you over the lifetime that you have it. Most people hold on to their appliances for more than 10 years, as well as usually they are built better and they'll last longer. So you won't have to replace them as long. So for multiple reasons, they will pay for themselves over the long run if you can go this more efficient route. Okay, I'll first ask if there's any questions, and then I'm going to take a pause, and Mabel is going to open up one of the free energy packs so you can see kind of what's in them. Any questions first? I'll just stop sharing my screen. So Mabel, you can take it away.
Pretty exciting.
You're on mute, Mabel. Oh, Mabel, you're still on mute, sorry.
Okay, there we go. I received a Focus on Energy pack myself, and all I needed was my We Energies bill, and I do have 2 We Energies bills, so I was able to get 2 packs. So they come like this, there's savings inside. I forgot what I ordered, so we're gonna open it up today or tonight and see what we got in this box. So this first box number 1, take a look at it.
And Mabel, how long from when you ordered it did it take to get to you?
Oh, it took maybe a week, 10 days. It didn't take long at all.
Don't expect that every time, but we do try.
Yeah, exactly. So, but it didn't take long at all. So, what I received in this first box was pipe. Can you guys see it? Get a little closer here. So I got some pipe insulation. I also received a couple of aerators for my sink.
Water.
Yep, to save some water. I received 2 night lights, just like this, which is really cool. And then I also received a shower head.
Saving even more water.
Saving even more water. So that's box number 1. I don't think I ordered the same thing for both of the boxes, so it's my box.
How do the aerator and the shower head save water?
They increase pressure, so you have less. They just increase pressure. So less water is flowing through, so you'll actually have better water pressure. It might take a little longer for the water to get hot, just because you're wasting less. But the average shower head uses 2 or more gallons per minute. These use 1.5. So if you times that by at least 5-minute showers, you're saving multiple gallons, and then over the year, hundreds or thousands of gallons.
Awesome.
Ours, and you can turn it on, and as soon as it hits warm, it shuts itself off. And then when you step in the shower, you pull the little ring and back to the water.
I have that thing. I have to install it. I'll show you where you can get it from Focus on Energy.
So, well, that's how I got it originally from when we got the house greened. It works really nice. So it's pretty cool, actually.
Yep.
All
And
right,
then,
Mabel, what's in box number 2?
so box number 2,
The weather stripping.
got some weather stripping here. This looks like a what do you call it thing you put around your door at the bottom?
Oh, yeah.
I forgot what it's called. You guys will figure it out. And then also I received some weather stripping, some insulation kit.
Is that the plastic that you put on?
Yes,
Plastic-free
and
windows
you can use a blow dryer
Yeah.
kind of seal it. Then I also received some light bulbs. And those are LEDs. Couple more night lights. And then a couple rolls of stripping as well. So I have 2 of those that came in the box too.
Wow.
So I received
All that fit in that box?
all that fit in that box. I got 2 boxes, so
You're like Mary
It's
Poppins
awesome.
clean stuff.
yeah.
For the fetching price of free.
Yeah.
Free. All free. So thank you to Focus on Energy. I would highly recommend everyone sign up if you can, so that you can also get some of the items that are available.
So when you ordered the boxes, did they say this box would be this stuff, this box would be this stuff, or do you pick and choose what you want and they pack it?
Well, they had the way it was separated, they had kind of like free stuff, right?
Could I
So
show?
one of the boxes that I decided to get, I wanted to get some light bulbs and the weather stripping and things like that. So I selected that. And then the other one, I wanted a shower head. So I was, they're already kind of pre-packed,
Okay.
but you can select.
Did you select that on their website?
Yes. And I think Brady's gonna show you how.
Yeah, is my screen sharing?
Yes.
Yep.
You're back.
See the Focus on Energy.
Yeah, you're
website?
showing the email that I sent.
Shoot. That's why nobody reacted.
What I got, was all light bulbs, because we were doing all the appliances. So we got all the light bulbs. We got a whole box of light bulbs.
There you
Wow.
go.
LEDs.
All right, here we
Those
go.
must
This
be
is
expensive.
our
Yeah,
beautiful Focus on Energy website. So this is focusonenergy.com. So it's pretty easy to remember.
Yeah.
Under products, we have our free energy saving packs. And I'll go to order now and you'll see what the website looks like. Just give it a second. So right now we really are promoting that weatherization kit just as the seasons change and things get colder. That's kind of what's on our mind. This is all the stuff that was in Mabel's pack. So you've got the window cling, a little hot water reader. So a lot of people's hot water heater is up too high. And so this can help you see if you can turn the temperature down a little bit and save energy that way. And then these are outlet and light switch covers that are insulated. Often, especially in older homes, there's no insulation there, and it's one of the bigger. If you have an infrared camera in an energy audit, you can see these holes where energy is being and heat is being lost. So this is where you can order your free pack. Like Mabel said, you'll need your account number from We Energies, but then you just add this to your cart, kind of like your online shopping, and you can order between the 3. And Mabel, before you get too excited, you are eligible in the new year, so come January 1st, for a whole nother round of free kits.
Oh, awesome.
So every
Are we able to get them once a year?
once a year, yeah.
Perfect.
One free pack. So definitely encourage people to take advantage of this just because they're free.
Absolutely.
Maybe you can pay it forward and give it to a friend if you know they're not computer savvy or whatever. But most people are eligible for one their own. So that's pretty easy. I also wanted to show you, okay, so imagine you got one of the packs this year, but there was still some things that you wanted that weren't in the pack. We have this online marketplace that was right underneath where you order the free pack. You can get LED lighting, although if I'm honest, I encourage like thrift stores are often one of the best places to get these light bulbs, or like Habitat for Humanity restores. That's where I've gotten them the cheapest, but we do sell them. This is huge. Our smart thermostats are in a super sale right now. It's a Black Friday sale. And before your jaw drops, you'll see you can get a Google Nest smart thermostat that connects with your phone for $25. And that goes up until the end, I think the end of the month. But I wouldn't wait, definitely. Order it as soon as you can. And this is if your thermostat doesn't have a C wire. So check your thermostat. We have some YouTube videos online, and that's how I installed mine, is just watching YouTube. I promise you don't have to be like a super smart electrician to do it. And
That's what I was going to ask. So there's YouTube that shows you how to install them.
Yep.
Brady, I got this yesterday online because we've been getting focused on energy stuff. So they sent me, Black Friday, and it was exactly this.
Oh, that's awesome.
That ad, exactly as is. So it's kind of cool. Thought, well, shucky darns, we're talking about this tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Scared me in the face.
And this is that little chain that Steve was mentioning that this stops your shower as soon as the water gets hot. So the cold water will run out just like you normally, you run the shower, but then as soon as it gets hot, the water will stop. And then when you're ready, you pull the chain and the hot water comes through. So it saves you some water. If you're like me, sometimes you run the shower and then you run around and you do some things around the house and you might forget. What else have we got? We've got some air quality things. I will show you. So these are all instantly discounted thanks to Focus on Energy. This is the one I ordered. We occasionally have sales on these. I just love this thing. Like, I can't believe when I check the filter, it's kind of gross what's in there. But I'm like, wow, that's not in my lungs now. And I'm a renter, but when we had that wildfire smoke, I was running this thing constantly. I find I run it at night, and I find, especially during allergy season, I don't wake up like, ugh, what's in my throat? Just really great. My personal testimony is just, I really like it. And we have it in 3 different sizes. So this is like 1 room. This is like 1 floor of your house. Or
how big are they? How big are they?
This one is like the size of like a paint bucket. Okay. This one is like the size of maybe like a computer. And then this one is quite a bit bigger, but this one is like super duty. Like this will get your whole home. And that one is more like a trash can size.
Great.
We've got some weatherization stuff too. I'm going to check what the plastic. I think we offer that. Yeah, so slightly discounted. I always find this plastic is like kind of expensive for what it is, just plastic. But so we offer a little rebate on that for you there.
What about power strips?
Oh, you're right. They're right here. Thank you, Brian. So this is the smart one that Brian was mentioning. It basically has a control. So I did exactly what Brian did. I plugged my TV into the control thing, and then all the other devices into these like green ones that are it's basically conditional. So if the TV is on, they are on. If the TV is not on, none of those are. And I think it is smart enough that even it recognizes the sort of trickle of energy that the TV is using, and it tries to cut on that as well. So, it is still $12. I feel like usually from a hardware store, you can get them cheaper. Although sometimes they're still pretty expensive, but I can just say we have both in our home and we use them, or at least I'm very religious about using them and turning them off. But this one you don't have to turn off, and that's kind of nice. We also have some of these in our home too, of like holiday lights are nice, but they're a little high tech. If you want to hook it up to your phone, you can put it on timers and automatically have things turn on or off. But again, that sometimes it's a little bit finicky technology. I'm going to go back to our website, so I'll just show you one second. Products. Give it a second to load. We do have a lot of pages on equipment. I'm not going to cover them all, but if you're interested in heat pumps, maybe we can get into that in the Q&A. But we also have a ton of resources and a user and buyer guide, which might be of interest if that's something you're exploring. I wanted to quickly. See, it's not there. Under rebates and incentives, that's where you're going to find a lot of applications and resources. So for heating and cooling, insulation, and then water heaters as well. We also offer $500 on solar installs for homes. And that's not a lot. The average installation in Wisconsin last year was $32,000. For solar. So it's one of the more expensive things, and it's kind of why we say efficiency first, then think about renewables. But you do get 30% on up to 30% of the project cost on your tax credit at the end of the year. And that's where you get the real incentive for solar.
I put solar on my home last year and I got a $500 free Focus on Energy rebate.
Yeah, and $500 is $500.
That's what I say. I'm saying, yeah, it's on the table.
I went through a group buy, City of Milwaukee, and Arch Solar put it in, and they handled everything, and I got that rebate. I don't know, 6 weeks later, something like that.
And you mentioned Green Homeowners United. We've worked quite a bit with Kevin Kane and Green Homeowners. Good resource for us.
Yeah. I wanted to show you, so what I did is I went under rebates and incentives and I just clicked residential. We do kind of have like a starting journey where this can kind of give you, just if you don't know where to begin. I did also want to say we have this free home energy assessment tool as well. It is not as good as a professional energy audit, but those usually are about $500 is how much those cost. So while those, I think, even though that's a lot of money, there is a tax credit for $150 that I'll show you on a table in a moment. But this is free, so I do recommend you just start with this. It will give you some recommendations, and then it gives you links to Focus on Energy rebates for any recommendations. It usually takes like 10 to 15 minutes of you enter the square footage of your home, kind of the general age of your furnace, how you're heating and cooling your home, and just some general intake information. And then it gives you sort of this customized recommendation. It gives you cost estimates of how much you might save in Wisconsin on average, and then also like some environmental footprint metrics as well. So not super specific to your home, but gives you some rough ballparks on how much energy savings might be on the table. I wanted to show you, and when I started doing these presentations across the state, it was the first blog, but our blog is great. I feel like I learn a lot of things and I know quite a bit about energy, but we usually have some seasonal things like focus on winter savings and behavior tips. A lot of feel-good stories across the state on ways people are saving energy. But the one I turn to time and time again is, again, you kind of had to scroll down a little bit, is this taking advantage of federal tax credits. And you'll see in a moment why I love it. It has this table that shows you the federal tax credit that you could be eligible for and the focus on energy rebate. So take insulation, for example, and now you'd need an energy audit to get the full focus on energy amount. But insulation on a home is usually 5,000 to 6,000, depending on the size of the home. But your tax credits give you 1,200. Focus on energy will give you at least 1,800 up to. And if your income qualified that 80% state median income or below, you can get 2,500. So when you combine that, that's more than up to half the cost of that project. And you can see where the payback, it already was going to be there. And you can see with these incentives, that's really making that a lot faster. The home energy audit, like I said, 150 is up to for that. Focus on Energy does not offer anything for windows, and that's because they take a long time to pay back. Usually when you think of how much energy is leaving the home, windows are less than 10%. Even though window contractors would love you to believe that's where all your energy is going. Really, it's usually about 25% of the leakage in the home is from your basement, 25% is your walls, and 25% is your attic. So just those walls and attic are 75% of the air leakage in the home. And it does leave a lot for windows, but there is a tax credit. Exterior doors are also something like that. They can really make you feel a lot more comfortable. I often feel my door and you can feel that it's cold to the touch. That means it doesn't have a lot of insulation. So if I were to upgrade that, you can get a little bit of a tax credit there. Air source heat pumps are more expensive, but we offer up to 1,300. Somebody asked that question earlier. And I think for business, we might scale that up because you'd need more heat pumps. So for like a church, I'll show you who you'd want to touch base with on that to learn a little bit more of what you could receive. But these are a pretty cool technology. We kind of in the industry think of them as like the LEDs of heating and cooling. They're super efficient. They work like an air conditioner does, but they can also work in reverse. So they are just moving heat rather than burning a fuel or anything like that. And they can work all the way down to negative 15 degrees. It's just that when temperatures reach about 40 to 30 degrees, they start to lose efficiency. So they're extremely efficient above that temperature. And then the lower you go, the less efficient they are. And they'll start using more energy. And while they are still more efficient than a furnace, electricity is often a lot more expensive than natural gas in Wisconsin. So, I will say with that caveat, every home is different. I've heard of somebody who they weatherized their home really strongly with insulation and air sealing, and then they went all electric. And they said their heating bill in the winter was about $150. And to me, I thought, well, that's not that unreasonable given, they had their solar ready. So if they have solar panels, that could be free. And as the grid gets cleaner, that'll be hooked up to that clean electricity. So they're kind of exciting. They can, like I said, they can also work with your furnace. Your furnace would kick in on the really cold days. And I've had some of our staff on Focus on Energy have done that. And they're still reducing natural gas significantly while improving the efficiency. And that might be the fastest way for a return on investment if cost savings is what you're looking for. And then, if your furnace dies, you might want to switch to all electric and you already have a heat pump there. Just wanted to scroll down. So we still have things for furnaces and there's tax credits as well. Biomass wood stoves probably aren't too much of interest. Heat pump water heaters, there's incentives, as well as instant discounts from our trade allies. So I'll show you where to find that in a moment. And then you see the solar system up to $500. And then there's still quite a bit for geothermal. I think that was actually up. Geothermal heat pumps, yeah. So I just show this just because there's a lot of money on the table to pay for these. Some of these projects are expensive with the upfront costs, but when you pair these with City of Milwaukee has the ME2 program, which is some loans that don't require super strict credit score information. You know, you could get some of the upfront costs covered by that loan, and the cost savings will still be higher than the loan payment. So you come out actually ahead after you do these projects. And that's when I was saying kind of think proactively, because navigating all this can take time and it's kind of a lot. But if you're proactive and you can braid all these incentives, you can have a really good payback versus when you're in that situation in the depths of winter and that furnace goes kaput. One more thing I'll show before Q&A is just finding a trade ally. These are contractors who work with Focus on Energy. So they know our incentives, they know how to help you fill out the rebate forms. And in the case of hot water heaters, they provide an instant discount. So you don't even have to fill out a form, and you get the instant rebate. So it's find a trade ally. Right now we're under home. There's also a business equivalent. You can search by what you're looking for. So a home energy assessment is that energy audit that I mentioned, HVAC equipment, insulation, solar, geothermal, water heaters, and then you can search by zip code. So does anyone want to, what's the Sherman Park zip code?
53216, 53210.
Yep.
53206.
I'll start with
08.
5216. So you can see there's 7 in the area, and there's some more in Waukesha that I'm sure would do work. And this is just for energy audits. So you might find more probably for HVAC, possibly for water heaters, but it's pretty easy. And if I go back, I think we have some cool features like Spanish, minority-owned business, women-owned business, and veteran as well, if that's a priority for you too. So I've thrown a lot at you. Maybe we'll just open the floor up for questions. I think we can have a good discussion there too.
So I'm in on a waiting list through Green Homeowners United to get a heat pump.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking, I had to have my furnace, just tuned up for the winter. And the guy that installed my furnace, who works with Kevin Kane, he was saying they're not sure yet how the government is going to write their requirements in. If they want your house to be, they may not give you the rebate for the heat pump if your furnace isn't already electric or something. I don't know.
That is a good point. I forgot.
And I just had a brand new high efficiency furnace installed in 21. So
I don't know if you'd be eligible for the rebate if you were already electric. I don't think so. One of the things I was mentioning before this call started is we're going to have a survey and some engagement. So we're Focus on Energy is actually the one who will be administering those federal rebates. One of the questions are, should they be retroactive? I think that might slow down the program and it would eat up a bit of budget. So it might be a reason if you can wait, if you think you'll be income eligible to wait. If you don't think you'll be income eligible, I would not encourage you to wait because you're missing out on savings. I can tell you, and that's another question too that we'll ask to stakeholders is the electric stuff. So heat pumps have income limitations, and we're already required by the federal government that 40% or more of those rebates go to low-income households. But some are saying, at least for the other side of the rebates, which can help with insulation and air sealing on top of what Focus on Energy offers, those do not have an income eligibility requirement. And some are saying maybe we should cap it for moderate to low income. That'll be a question that we're offering too. The funds seem like a lot of money, but it's only 50,000 homes over 10 years and across Wisconsin. So hopefully we get more funds from the federal government, but that's just not guaranteed. And so there is some uncertainty right now. I think if you want to invite me back maybe in the spring of next year, we'll probably have some more information on what's eligible even though those rebates right now at our best guess probably won't be available until fall of next year.
Keeps getting pushed back.
Yeah, DOE was late to get us the guidelines, and then the Public Service Commission said we want to do some stakeholder engagement on some of these key design elements, and then we have to submit a plan back to the Department of Energy.
Oh,
Then it has to get back to us, and then we have to work on implementation.
okay.
I think we're optimistic that we can work really hard and fast once we have approval. But that's a little bit of behind the curtain, a peek at the Wizard of Oz there.
Well, I'll have
So
another hot house this coming summer then.
So, so that's the reason why you're anticipating surveys and public meetings in January.
Yeah, we want to hear what can make this easy, who's interested, some considerations like before you switch to a heat pump, is cost going to be super important to you, just in case it increases your bills. If you go all electric, like I said, if you do what we call dual fuel and you keep your furnace, your bills probably will not go up. They just go down based on your thermostat.
So is there a possibility that they'll allow you to keep your high efficiency gas furnace and still get the rebate for the heat pump?
Yes, that is super in the weeds. I think if there's enough energy savings to be gained, I think you will still. There's a requirement that I think the heat pump must be used more than 50% of the time if you do that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I actually will write that as a question and I'll follow up to get a specific answer.
Betty, Shanita, do you have any questions for Brady? Anybody in our regular group have any additional questions? Sounds like there's a lot of, go ahead.
Tim, this is Betty, and
Yeah.
Norm and I don't have any questions. We've had a few answered, so, but we don't have any right now.
Good. Yeah. Great presentation. And there are a lot of things that are available right now, even.
And you know what? I forgot, the city of Milwaukee and myself, we have a pre and post survey on how much you learned. And we're hoping to just kind of use that as some metrics of how these are going and a justification to do more. So if you don't mind, if you could pretend your future self before this hour started, if you could take the pre-survey and the post-survey, they're very short. I think only like 5 questions. I'll put them in the chat just to see, is this helpful, and maybe if we missed something that you wish you had learned too.
And if you'd send that to our Sherman Park Eco group, to my email.
Okay.
We'll try to get that information out to the people who participated too. Any other questions?
No, I would just say that this has been super helpful, especially getting kind of a breakdown of if we are buying like a new furnace, the rebates and things like that, what we would be eligible for. So thanks.
So Brady, if somebody needed guidance to go through the process, is there somebody in the office that can answer questions and guide them through what they're eligible for? And
yeah, actually, I'll share my screen one more time. Oh, am I already sharing?
No.
Let's just see. Oops. All right, let me pull up my slides again. Oops. It wasn't the website. So on our website, if you go under resources, and there's the Find a Trade Ally, but there's also an energy advisor map, which I apologize, amongst all the resources I've thrown at you, I can see how that would be confusing, but we break down energy advisors based on kind of what service you're looking at. So if you have a question on heating and cooling or insulation and air sealing, let's say you want to explore insulation, we have energy auditors all across the state that are local. So I think Jordan actually lives in Milwaukee, for example, or just around. So he can answer some questions and let you know what Focus on Energy offers, help you find a contractor, And we kind of break them down by things like that. And we had a question about a church, and I wanted to show you for that, or like nonprofits are also kind of under business. There's an energy advisor, Lori Griesbach, I think is how you pronounce her name. So she could probably, you could send her the list of recommendations that you got from your energy audit of the church, and she could actually tell you for each one what Focus on Energy would offer, how you take advantage of it. I mean, these energy advisors, they're just like people who love to help, kind of like me, but they know a lot more than I do, especially specific to their programs. So I encourage you, if you've got some specific questions, these people are just great to work with.
That's great. Good.
Also, you could share my email too, and if people have a question, even if I don't know the answer, I'll ask around in our team or find out who's the right person, so you don't have as many bounce backs. I kind of take care of that for you.
Good. If there aren't any other questions, I suppose we could just stop recording and invite people to go to the chat and fill out the survey right now before we end the evening. Is that the possibility? And Brady, thank you so much.
Yeah. Good job.
Look forward. Yeah, Steve.
That was a great job. And
Yeah.
Tim, I think this is something we need to